Hello everyone, I welcome you all back to my channel. Today I'll be teaching you about methods in Java. It's a very special lesson which you should thoroughly understand if you want to know about Java. First of all, I'll tell you what a method is. A method is a block of code that runs when called. You can pass data, also known as parameters, for our method. Methods do actions and are known as also functions. Methods are used to reuse code, define code once and use it many times. That's what methods do in Java. Now, inside the IntelliJ platform, I'll make a class to teach you about methods. You go to the src and select new and select Java class, and inside let's give it a name. We'll call this methods Java, and inside our class methods Java, let's declare our main method. We type psvm and press the tab button to make our main method. Alright, now everything is set up. It's time for me to teach you about methods in Java. A method must be declared within a class. It is defined with the name of the method followed by parentheses. Java provides some predefined methods such as the sout or the system.out.println method. You can define your own code and perform certain actions inside your code. That's where a method is being used in Java. Now we'll declare a method. Alright, now let's declare a method. We'll say static void my method and have parentheses and have a code inside it. We say code which runs when the method is called. What here we did was make a method. The method's name is my method and it does not return a data type, so we made it void. Void means doesn't return a data type. And what static means is it's an object of the main method but does not belong to the main method. That's what static means when we use it inside a method, for a method. Now let's see some code written inside our method. Now let's proceed to the next step. Now we'll have some code inside our static void my method. We'll have an sout that prints you just started learning, and we can call our method inside our main method. To do that, we must declare the name of the method with parentheses and a semicolon. Now let's run this code and check the output. What do you think will be the output when we print this? Let's check it out. Okay, we got you just started learning printed. That means my method worked and its code block got executed. That's why when we printed it inside our main method, we got our answer as you just started learning. That's what happened when we printed out this code. Okay, let's change this out to another text. We say the next step will be explained. And now let's run this and check the output. We got a different text printed. The text inside our my method got printed this time also, like in the previous time. When we declare our methods inside our main class, we can run it and gain an output of what we typed. That's how methods work in Java. A method can be declared many times inside our main method. To check that, we'll have our my method printed 3 times. This must definitely print. The next step will be explained 3 times. Let's see if we'll get that output which I just said. Let's print this out. Okay, we got it printed 3 times like I explained. The next step will be explained was printed 3 times when we ran this code right now. Information can be passed inside our methods as parameters. Let's see this in action. We'll remove this and we'll have a new code made. And inside our static void my method, we'll have a string fname. It is known as a parameter. Now we'll have our sout which will print my name is fname. Now inside our main method we get an error for our my method. This is because we did not pass the parameter to this method to run it. Now in this time I pass a parameter. A string parameter will be passed. In here I say Kulesh, and I'll have another my method, and inside it I'll have Alex. Okay, let's print this out and check our output inside our console. What do you think will be the output? Let's check it out. Okay, just as expected, we got our output. In the first instance, it printed my name is Kulesh. In the second one, my name is Alex was printed. That means our parameter which we passed inside our method worked. That's why when we printed fname with names Kulesh and Alex, we got those names printed inside our text of our method. That's how this code worked when we ran it. What we passed inside our method will be known as an argument, whereas what we passed inside our parentheses of our my method or a method is known as an parameter. A parameter and an argument will be passed when we write methods. Now let's have multiple parameters placed inside our method. To do that, after string fname inside the parentheses, I'll have an int age. As you can see, our methods started having an error. This is because we did not pass an int age for the 2 method declarations. That's why we got an error when this was printed out. So inside this sout, we'll say my name is fname plus, and inside we say my name is fname and my age is plus sign age. Now we'll declare arguments, int age arguments to the two method declarations inside our main method. We'll have Kulesh and have it 21. Age will be 21 and Alex's age will be 24. Now let's print this code out and check our output. This will print my name is fname and my age is age 2 times. That's what will happen when we print this. So let's check it out. Okay, we got our answer. My name is Kulesh and my age is 21 was printed. And the second one, my name is Alex and my age is 24 was printed. That's how multiple parameters and multiple arguments are used inside our code in Java. Now let's proceed to the next lesson. We'll comment this out and we'll have another method, static int my age, and inside we'll have an int age parameter and we'll have return age plus 4. What I did here was make a static method by the name my age and give it int age parameter and return it with age plus 4. If you want the method to return a value, you can use a primitive data type instead of void and use the return keyword inside your method. That's what I did here. Instead of void, I used int this time. Int is a primitive data type and you can use many types of primitive data types inside methods instead of void, and you can return the value by printing it. Now let's have our my age inside an s out and print it. We say s out my age and give it a int age. We say 13. Now let's run this and check the output. Okay, we got 17 printed, just as I expected. This happened because we return an age and added to 4 when we run this code. The argument we passed for my age was 13 and it returned my int age and added it with 4. That's what happened when we ran this code using our console. Now we'll have multiple parameters inside our my age method. We'll have int age and int y. This time, instead of returning age plus 4, we say age plus y. And as you can see, an error is being shown inside my age. That's because we have to pass another argument inside it. This time we'll pass 5. And let's run this and check the output. Okay, we got our answer. 13 and 5 got added when we ran this code, like it as expected in the method. The arguments 13 and 5 was added inside and returned as a value when we printed this output. That's what happened. We can store our method values inside variables. Let's have an instance for this. We say int n equals my age 13 and 5, and we can print out n, the stored value inside our sout. Now let's run this and get our output. It printed the stored value 18, just as expected. That's how we can store values inside variables and print them out inside our console. Now let's learn another lesson. Before that, let's delete all this code. And this also. Let's say static void my age and remove the string fname and provide only int age. And we'll remove this sout as well. And inside methods, it is common to use if-else statements. We'll have one inside this method. We'll say if age greater than 18, inside the code block it will print an sout saying I am a man, and else will be sout I am a teenager. Now we have made a static void method which pass the parameter int age, and it checks if age is greater than 18 and prints I am a man if it is right, else it would print I am a teenager. Now let's have our method declare and arguments placed inside the main method. We say my age and provide 19 as of now. What do you think will be the output? Let's run it out and check the answer. It printed I am a man. This happened because 19 is greater than 18. That's why we got I am a man printed here. Now we'll declare this age as 13, and let's run this out and check the answer. This time we got I am a teenager as expected. 13 is lesser than 18 and not greater than 18. That's why we got I am a teenager as the output when we printed this code. Now I'll teach you method overloading in Java. When there are many methods with the same name and different parameters, is known as method overloading in Java. Here I have placed 3 methods with the same name, my method, and have different parameters. The first method has an int parameter, the second a float, and the fourth a double parameter, and they all return an x. This is how method overloading is done when we code. Now let's proceed to the next step. Now let's have my method placed inside our main method. We say my method. First of all, let's make these all static methods. We have to say static, and here I say my method, and this time I'll choose the int my method, and inside it I'll have 4. Next, the float my method. Inside it I'll have 5.6 f. And the next my method will be the double my method. So inside it I'll have 4.2d and 5.6d. And now let's print and check the output for these calls. Oh, we forgot to place them inside S outs. Let's do it now. We say S out and we place this pasted inside this. And we'll have another S out with the float my method. And finally, we'll have another S out with the double my method. Now, let's print this out and check the output. It printed for 5.6 and 4.2. This happened because in the first my method, which is an int my method, it returns only the index 4, and in the next instance, inside the next my method, the float method, it also returns only the x float, and inside the double my method, it printed 5.2d only. No, 4.2d only. The x 4.2d only. That's what happened when we ran this code. Instead of defining two methods that do the same thing, we can overload only one. Let's check this in progress. First of all, let's remove all this code. And a new one will be typed. We'll have a static in plus method and another static double plus method. Inside the static in plus method, it will have an int x and int y, and this will return x plus y. And the static double plus method will have a double x and a double y, which will return x plus y. The double x added to 5, added to is y. Now let's have this. We'll have int b equals plus method, x will be 2, int y will be 5, and we'll have double v equals plus method plus double method, where 12.5d and 34.1d will be made the x and y. Now let's print out in b, and let's print out double v. What do you think will be happening after we run this code? It might print the int variable and the double variable. To understand this, let's print this out. Okay, we got our answer. The plus method in B provided 2 and 5, which was added to make 7. And the double V had the plus method 12.3d added with 34.1d to become 46.40 double. That's what happened when we ran this code. In this example, we overloaded the plus method to work for both int and double. So, we use two types of variables to declare two types of values by using two types of methods with the same name but different parameters. That's how Java overloading can be done inside our code. Now we'll have some more values inside our methods, more parameters inside the two methods. We'll have an int z as well and a double z as well, and we'll have x plus y multiplied by z and x plus y multiplied by z again. And as you can see, to remove these errors, we have to give another value. Here I'll give 3 and here I'll give 1.5. Now the errors have gone and we can check the output. It printed 17 and 63.45. How did this happen? First of all, 5 was multiplied by 3 and made 15, and 2 was added to it in the first example. And in the second one, 34.1D was multiplied by 1.5D and added to 12.3D and to make it 63.45. That's what happened in this example. In Java, variables are only accessible inside the region they are created. This is called scope in Java. Here, there's an index which is equals to 100. We can't S out it before by running a code. Let's try it. We can't print x here because it's not inside the scope. Because after x, the x can be printed after declaring x equals to 100. The code can print the x because it's in the scope. That's how the scope differs in various instances. If we have another value as, if we have an S out to print y, this time there's no y because there's not a y, there is no y before of or after the scope. If we have y here as int y equals 20, we can print y because it's inside the scope where we are printing it. That's how the scope works in Java. A block of code refers to all the code between curly braces. Variables declared inside blocks of code are only accessible by the code between the curly braces, which follows the line in which the variable was declared. So, code written here can't use x. Inside this block that we can refer to x. Before x was declared, we can't use x inside our values. It is after x was declared to be equal to 100 that we can print it as x after that. After the block code ends here, you can't access x. That's how the block scope works in Java. It's similar to the scope and it works exactly like a scope in Java. So a block of code refers to all code between curly braces, and variables declared are accessible by the code block between only the curly braces and which follows the line which the variable was declared. That's how a block scope works. Till now I have taught you about Java methods, Java method overloading, scope and block scope till now. I hope you got a clear understanding about all these lessons. I invite you all to comment in the comment section and ask questions about these lessons. So for today's lesson is the end for today's lesson. I'll meet you with another lesson another time on another day. Until then, goodbye guys, and please take care.